Up, guys? Welcome back to Keeping It Real, the place to be for all the latest movie reviews, trailer reactions, and podcasts. I'm your host, James, joined by Rhys today to talk about Barbarian. Before we get started, I just want to remind you all we are on Twitter at Keeping It Real UK. Give us a follow, and from there you can find links to all of our streaming platforms and social media from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're probably on there. Whichever app you use to listen to our podcast, make sure to follow us, like us, or give us a 5-star rating. Really helps us out. We're also on YouTube as well, and we'd love to have you all subscribers so you never miss another video. Right, Barbarian. Let's have a look at the plot. A young woman discovers the rental home she booked is already occupied by a stranger. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the night, but soon discovers there's a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest. Directed by Cregger, starring Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long, Barbarian released on October 28th, 2022 here in the UK, and currently sits at a massive 92% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So, Rhys, give us your spoiler-free thoughts on Barbarian.
Well,
Where to start?
I saw the trailer for this film one time, probably about 2-3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, cool, I'll go and see that. And it was nothing like the trailer gives away from what I remember. It's nothing that I expected. It's brilliant. As far as horror films go, it is the right mixture of tension and the kind of there was a few jump scares, but
yeah, but that's not what it's based on. That's not what the horror's based on.
No, it's not based on that. It's based on the kind of horror film that I like. It's tense. It lets the actors do a lot of the work, and I just think everyone should see it.
Yeah,
I think it might be the horror film of the year. I can't think of anything.
I'll have to have a look through my list in a second, but I might be there with you.
I think it might be the best horror film of the year.
Yeah. So you said you watched the trailer a while ago. I completely avoided the trailer. Because I hadn't heard of this movie. It's a small horror movie, but when it came out in the States, it's all I saw on Twitter for a week. Just people raving about it. So I was like, I want to go. I'll go into that blind, and I am so happy that I did, because wow, what a ride I was on. I had no idea what was coming next. I didn't even know the initial, the plot of the movie. So everything was a surprise to me. Georgina Campbell, who plays the lead, Tess, I thought was fantastic. Really like a star-making performance. I think she'll get some really big things after this. Bill Skarsgård, again, someone I just didn't know was in the movie, and then he turns up. I thought, a face. And Justin Long, I thought all the performances were really good. Yeah, this is, like you said, there are a couple of jump scares. There's a couple that are, backed up by strings just to make you go a bit more. But again, the horror's really, because everything is from the perspective of these characters, and they do a beautiful job with the cinematography where at times you really do feel trapped or like you're being followed a lot. And that really got under my skin. I don't know what else to say without spoiling it.
There's really not much you can say about the
there isn't, no. It's got a great wicked sense of humor to it, a really good balance, and just to alleviate the tension as well, because this was, I didn't think my heart was working at some points, because I'm just holding in. I was biting my nails. I was doing I was doing all of it.
Stay at a Airbnb again.
Never.
Ever in your life.
Never. I do not trust it. I want to stay home where it's safe. But yeah, if you're going to follow us into the spoiler section, then we'll talk more about it. But if you're just wondering what we thought of this movie, yeah, 4 thumbs up from me and Rhys, because we had such a good time during this. And this is the quickest we've ever gone from watching a movie to recording a review.
Oh, yeah,
so this is fresh. This is right out of the theatre. But yeah, let's dive into spoilers. Let's talk about actually what happens in Barbarian. So if you haven't seen it, turn off, go see it, come back and join us for that. So Tess, she's going to Detroit for a job interview. booked an Airbnb, turns up at the Airbnb, turns out Bill Skarsgård is already staying there. There's been a double booking. They went through different providers, all that. So after a while, they sort of, I think she gets the idea from him that, he's not a bad guy. He seems a bit nervous, which of course in our head, red flags are going off. Like, what's he?
Yeah,
what's he so nervous about? It seems like he's hiding something. Yeah,
like,
they do a really good job with that character of making you doubt.
You see him, you're like, this. He's acting nice, but you're like, this guy's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah,
this guy's gonna do horrible things to this girl in the second act.
Turns out he is just a decent dude, which I never
nice
saw coming. I mean, you cast Pennywise, you immediately going to put sort of doubts in our mind, aren't you?
He's just a nice guy who likes music.
Yeah, and
music.
He just wants to give this girl a drink. he's very persistent.
Nice glass of wine with his girl.
Yeah. So they end up getting on. He gives her the bed. He takes the sofa for the night. This is where things start to sort of maybe get a bit weird. She wakes up in the middle of the night. The door's ajar. He's making strange noises in his sleep. And that's the first bit where we get the indicator that either there's somebody else in the house, or because I didn't know what the antagonist of this movie was. I was like, is it ghosts? Is it? But we see the door to the basement close shut behind her. I was like, oh no, there's somebody there. And then why does she initially? Oh, she just initially goes into the basement just for some toilet paper, didn't she? For a roll of TP. God, worst decision she ever made. She just left it.
Just let it drip dry. It's not worth it.
So yeah, she delves into this basement, discovers 3 secret doors, and every time I'm just like, please don't.
She discovers 2.
Go in.
She discovers 2, and then Bill Skarsgård
discovers the 3rd. Yeah, of course.
But that bit where she goes downstairs and she's in that room after Bill Skarsgård has gone down. You're just waiting for him to like jump out and like push her in.
I either thought it's going to go that route and it's what we expected all along. He's part of it, or I thought he was going to try and have a bit of fun with her and jump out, and that was going to be the.
Yeah, I'm so glad it didn't, because when I was getting to that bit, I was like, oh, is it just going to be like fresh, and it's not going to. It's just going to kind of be like.
So where I thought it was going, yeah.
But then it just fucking doesn't. It doesn't do that at
they
all.
Go. She can't find Bill Skarsgård anywhere. She goes down this tunnel, and this is where I started biting my nails. This is it's just this long tunnel, and then I think that we can hear Bill Skarsgård screaming, can't we? Screaming, "Help, Tess, please come and get me."
Even then, I'm like, he's
thought he was pulling a leg, 100%. And then we see those cages, don't we? That was sort of the first thing. Bill pops out. He's like, you've got to come this way. You've got to come this way, because something back there, the way you came, just fucking bit me. I don't know what's going on, but we got to go this way. And this is where I lost my shit. How would you describe this monster?
It was like, I guess it's kind of like those things that are like, the Hills Have Eyes, wrong turn. Like it is exactly that, because they explain later on that it's, a form of like inbreeding.
Like generations of inbreeding have resulted in this.
But this, like, what? Yeah. 7-foot
monster of a woman.
Like the girl from The Ring on crack.
It was like, sort of like, in It Chapter 2, when Pennywise turns into that big...
Oh, like the
big woman.
Yeah,
it was sort of like that, but this wasn't like CG. This was all makeup and practical, and all the more terrifying for it. And that's so Bill gets killed in the most gnarly way possible.
Just obliterated.
Just smashed his head against the wall. And I'd looked away. It's disgusting. Tess gets taken as prisoner, and then we quickly switch tone. The movie takes a break. We're into the second act now, and we're focusing on Justin Long.
I think everyone in the cinema when that happened, everyone just kind of just stopped. Everyone
I finally took a breath.
Everyone was just kind of sat there. You could just kind of hear people behind us as well, kind of like laughing, confused, and being like,
didn't really know what was going on. And that's the bit for me where I was like, I think they've got me. Because there's a definite vision what they're doing here. So no scares for a bit. We're just living with Justin Long, who is this actor who has just been accused of sexual misconduct on set. So he's going through all that. He needs to liquidate some assets. So he goes to Detroit because it turns out he owns this Airbnb. So he's going to go there and see how much he can get out of this house. In a rather funny scene where he's trying to see how much square footage this house actually has so he can get more money out of it, ends up going into the tunnel, which no matter how desperate I was for money, that you're not. Not going down there.
I would not be like, oh, this is obviously part of my property. I'd be like, I'm just going.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll just get the surveyors around. Actually, they can do this.
This isn't me.
Well, the Tess does that thing when she finds the first secret door, isn't she? The one on the rope. Opens that, takes a look inside, and goes,
at that point, you kind of go,
I'm leaving Detroit.
Yeah, you'd say no, but then you kind of go in and you'd be like, right.
Yeah.
I can see the end.
It was before this as well, wasn't it? She was coming back to the house and a man started running down the street.
Yeah.
And you think, because it's...
Yeah, I kind of, just because, I've seen lots of horror films. As soon as it happened, I was like, he's not bad.
He's not bad. He's a warning.
Nice man. And he's going to come back later.
He probably could have done it in a better way than just running after her. But
it's that typical horror movie thing of like, just use your words.
Don't sprint full belt at
this. Was like,
suspicious woman
because there's a fucking monster in the basement. You'd be like, you're a crazy man.
Yeah, but listen to me.
Which we see later on when she tries to get the police to come.
Oh, I was getting so angry.
Just two of the worst police officers.
Fucking awful.
In the just
useless.
Not even like they didn't care. They didn't take it seriously.
Well, it's because this neighborhood that she's in, we find out the first morning when she comes out to go to that job interview. Because this house is a lovely little house.
Great, by the way.
Didn't see it coming.
Pan through and all the lights are off everywhere. You're like, oh, this is creepy.
And then in the morning,
it's like, oh my god,
like an abandoned neighborhood.
Like derelict. Nothing.
Great reveal. Where was I? Yeah, so Justin Long goes down there. He starts getting chased by what we call in this monster.
Does she have a name? I think she's just called the monster, isn't she? I don't think she has a name.
Is there anything on the cast list?
Oh, the mother. She's called the mother.
Okay, so he starts getting chased by mother.
By a man.
Played by a man. Wow.
Matthew Patrick Davis.
Probably had the height and that was probably it. So he's running, falls into this pit. Where Tess is still alive. She's been kept down there by mother. Turns out mother wants these prisoners as her children, and I think one of the more disturbing bits, she's trying to feed them with this bottle, and of course that turns into something much more disturbing later. But
caked in hair.
Caked. Oh god, I was like, I'd at least ping a couple of those hairs off the before.
They probably could have just been like.
I thought as well, because Justin Long got a knife in him. As soon as I fall in that pit, I am taking my head off.
Justin Long must just love horror films.
He's a scream queen, man.
Because he's been in a couple now, and the Jeepers Creepers is pretty good. I've heard really good things about Tusk.
Not a great movie, but fucked up.
Yeah, like it's like an interesting film. He's so good at like just playing like a scream queen essentially.
Yeah, no, he's really good at it.
And especially in this one, he's just a dirt bag.
Real piece of shit. Let's just talk about his character for a second before we go down the plot more. So he's been accused of this sexual misconduct. Obviously, we don't know the truth. We're not privy to that information yet. He goes out with a buddy in Detroit, and he sort of tells his side of the story while he's drunk, doesn't he? He says like, oh, and he's like, no, she was saying no at first, but then she really came around to the idea, and I'm just a persistent guy. I'm just a persistent guy.
It's like, hey, you raped her, man.
You are a creep. But it's one of those creeps who doesn't see it for himself because I'm just a persistent guy. Which really does play into his whole character arc by the end. So yeah, we're for a while not sure whether he's good or bad, and then we really do sort of had a bad feeling about him.
I'm so glad that it was like that. I'm so glad they didn't try and give him a redemption.
No,
because it wouldn't have worked.
There is one scene where he calls his his accuser or his victim on the phone, and does apologize. So you're sort of led to believe that maybe this guy just he's one of those, he just doesn't get it.
Oh nah, I saw that as fully an admission of guilt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's some guilt behind it. Yeah, and whatever it did, I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I offended you. Like,
yeah, he's one of those guys. Yeah, he doesn't get it, and you can tell the whole way through he's like that. Because when he's like, "Oh, I'm just a good man who's done a bad thing," it's like, you're not.
No,
you're bad. And then seconds later, he throws.
Yeah. So we'll get to that. So Tess manages to escape the house when Mother really diverts her attention to Justin Long because he's not being a good baby. He's not drinking his milk. So she takes him to the creche with they're playing this video of breastfeeding, and you just know what's about to happen. And I was, oh, no. A horrifying scene of Mother breastfeeding Justin Long as Tess makes her escape. Very tense as well, because isn't this where Tess sort of rattles the tape measure?
The tape measure.
Oh, and we know those fuckers are loud, so there's no hiding that. She sprints out, can't get out because the door's locked. That goddamn door, that basement door. Oh my god. I'd have run through it. You're not stopping me.
I know. She was like kicking it and barging it. I was like,
just kick it a bit more. I was like, you're nearly there. Yeah, that's how it works. She gets out of this basement window. A great shot as well, because you don't know if she's going to get away. I saw her being dragged back in, 100%. And because when she started crawling out of it, I looked at you and I went, no.
Yeah, then the hero homeless man turns up.
Yeah, the man who was chasing her before drags her out, sort of gives her the backstory of what this is. Is this before or after we get that flashback?
That's after. The flashback comes just after. Is it just after Justin Long falls in the pit, I think?
Maybe, yeah.
Because then we get a flashback of Richard Brake. And I'm convinced if you ever have a film with Richard Brake just playing a weirdo, it's gonna bang.
Top tier casting.
He's just like, if I see him in a film, I'm like, this could be great.
Yeah. So it turns out it's what, 1950s?
It's when Nixon's in, whenever that is, because on the radio they talk about him.
Oh right, I didn't hear that. Right, yeah. Was that 60s? I don't know. I'm not good with my presidents. It's not my country.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah. Way back when, anyway. So this neighborhood is in much different shape than it is today. It's got that very Americana, like all the houses are colorful, all the grasses, all the lawns are mowed and everything. Everyone's got their nice cars. Turns out that it seems at first that this guy's just doing a shot, preparing for his new baby. Of course, we know something's not quite right because of the house he's in. And then so turns out we find out he's been taking them back to the house, raping them, having children with these victims, then procreating with that offspring, eventually creating this 7-foot monster woman. And he's still down there in the basement. Do we do we know what that dynamic was at this point? Is
Probably.
mother also looking after him?
No, but she was scared of him, wasn't she? Because you can tell when
She
Justin
backed
Long's
off.
back down that thing, she backs off.
Yeah, which that's because when she backed off, I went, "Oh no, there's something worse."
I think I heard you at that point when he was like, when you see the bell. I thought I heard you go, "Oh no, there's more of them."
Yeah, no, I did.
Which is wild because there should be a few more.
I dread to think.
Unless she is just,
she's alpha. She's taken over. Yeah, she ate.
Here's the thing.
The
I think this Barbarian is one of these interesting films where you look at Mother or the mother, and you go, "Well, she's the monster," but she's not necessarily the villain. If you get what I mean.
She, in turn, is a victim herself. This is just how. This is just her way of life.
What's his name? Frank. That's who Richard Brake plays.
Okay.
And then, in a way, I think AJ is also a villain. In a kind of way of he's only interested in himself.
Yeah.
We do get a hero briefly with Andre, the homeless man. Yeah. And it's one of those moments
ever so briefly
because it was a very kind of serious film for the most part. But I do like when they sprinkle some comedy in. When he's like, "I've been living here for 50 years and she's never coming here."
As soon as they said
that, like, "Well, here she comes."
As soon as they said, like, "Can she not get in here or something?"
Beat. Boom, yeah. She's in. And I was like, wow.
And he went like, "Shit." And immediately I was like, "She's gonna come in."
Oh no, she's coming.
What have you done, homeless man? You just jinxed yourself. Yeah, terrifying moment, and that's really leading into the last hurrah. They're trying to get away from mother. We've skipped over the beat as well, where Justin Long finds out about the videotapes and everything. Yeah. That's what that room upstairs was for, with that bloodied mattress, a camera, and a bucket. Horrible. And then, what did you say his name was? Frank?
Yeah, Frank.
Frank shoots himself. I mean, God, if I was Justin Long, I would have fought him for that gun and just pop one in my own head, because it's
a wild move that he's like, "Oh, guess the jig is up," and just shoots himself.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I've been caught. All right."
He was on the way out anyway. Look at him. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chase leads. We've not even mentioned that AJ shot Tess.
Oh, he shoots Tess.
She tries to get police to go into the house. They won't listen. They're not having any of it. They just think she's on drugs. So she goes in, trying to save the day, because Mother came out, didn't she? As Tess was in the car, she drives into Mother, thinking that's before she goes back in for AJ.
Yeah, but she goes in before, doesn't she? Because she goes in, she gets the keys. She comes out. And it's like she goes to drive away. Then Mother comes out, bursts out the door, and then she
drives her into the wall.
Fuck it. And just
because she thinks, right, well, I've got rid of it now. I can go and see if he's still alive and get him out. On her way back in and on his way out, he shoots her because he's just so nervous and doesn't know who it is. He hears a voice and just pops one off, hits her in the stomach. So now she's also got that to deal with. They get out of the house. Mother's gone. They get away. Homeless man takes them in. Mother turns up. They're climbing up the water tower. And that's where they have that conversation as well, where Justin Long is like, "Oh, maybe I'm not a bad guy. Maybe I'm a good guy. Did a bad thing." About 2 minutes later, we find out, no, this motherfucker's for real. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He says they get to the top of the water tower and he's like, "Well, there's no way we're getting out of this. I could get away because I've not got a bullet in me. You can buy me some time." Slides her off the top of the water tower. Mother jumps after her.
Which does give us the most ridiculous shot of the whole film.
Very funny.
Mother jumping off.
Yeah, very funny. Just to save her baby. Just like comes back down. And I think we all knew, didn't we? Like, Tess isn't dead. Mother's not dead, because Tess has got to be the one walking away from this.
Yeah.
We can't have Justin Long win. Mother gets up, fucking Pedro Pascal's his eyes out.
Yeah, with some of the most disgusting eye gore I've ever seen. It's brilliant.
Because usually we just see blood.
Yeah,
that was the goop.
I felt like it was very.
I felt sick, man. Yeah, and results in ripping his head open. Fucking, and then, Mother being Mother, doesn't want to do the same to Tess. She just wants to take her home and look after her.
It was a weirdly sweet moment, wasn't it?
There was, and there is, I think, a moment where Tess is like, because she's a good person. We've learned throughout this she's a very nice, warm person, and I don't think she wants to, because after what she's learned about what this thing is, she doesn't want to just kill it. But the only way she's getting out of this is to,
and I think as well,
kill this thing.
Like, obviously, the mother wants to die at that point.
Yeah,
she knows what a gun is. She's not stupid. You know what I mean? And she lets her put the gun on it to her face. It's almost that moment of like, well, this is over now, isn't it? Like,
take me out.
Yeah.
And then finally Tess gets to walk away, and we get to breathe again. And I was close to clapping at the end because of what a fucking movie.
It was
that
so
really succeeded on every level.
If I ever meet anyone who says that film isn't good, I'll fight him.
Yeah. I mean, while the actual premise isn't like the most completely original thing in the world, it's the way that Cregger navigates that with just the tension, for one, the humor, and having it not be focused on jump scares, but instead really putting you in the character's shoes and letting the horror impact you that way. Because there are like a lot of steady cam shots where you're focused on a character's back, and it feels like you're either being followed or following someone.
Yeah. Oh, that bit when it goes into first person perspective.
That up the claustrophobia.
Oh, and that's what I loved about. Yeah, the film is like, it's tense, it's claustrophobic, it's uncomfortable, and the whole time you're like waiting for it to pop, and like you're waiting for it's like the balloon is it's expanding. You're like, oh, any second now.
Any second she's coming back down that. Yeah.
For a while, every time you think it's going to, it doesn't. And then you're like, oh my god. And then when it does,
I think there's about 4 or 5 reveals maybe where you see her coming back down the tunnel. And every time we had the same reaction where we just be like, oh, oh no, it's happening. Yeah, I don't want to see it. And the way he's constantly misdirecting you. But as you know, it's not just for us. It's because we are in the character's shoes. Yeah. And Tess doesn't know what to think. When she turns up to that house, she doesn't know if this guy is normal or not. So neither do we. And it's that constant game that he's playing with us. You really don't know who to trust in this anymore. But yeah, what a really surprising good time and terrifying, because it's rare that I'll be so unsettled.
Yeah, I think it's very rare you come out
having such a good time.
That is as good as it is scary. Because obviously we've seen horror films before. We've come out, we've gone, oh, that was scary. But then you think about the plot, you're like, oh, the plot wasn't as good.
Yeah,
the acting wasn't as good. But to come out of a film that is like scary, well acted, interesting story, well shot, it's just like.
It's when you go into one of these movies just with a vision, man. I think that's what he really pulled it off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Barbarian before we give our scores?
Just go see it.
Go see it.
Go and see it.
Go fucking see it. It's rated 18. It deserves that rating. It is gnarly.
Yeah. To
the bone. It's definitely one of those, like, we'll do our ratings now. I've got it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if within the next coming weeks, if that gets bumped up to a 5, because it seems like one of those that's really going to stick with me, and I'll probably go back and see it again because it was fun. And hopefully I won't be as shit scared this time because I know what's going to happen. But yeah, that is it for our review of Barbarian, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, then let us know what you thought of the movie down below in the comments. Alternatively, if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, then just tweet us at Keeping It Real UK with your thoughts. We've been pretty busy this week with our reviews, so why not go to our channel and check out our reviews for Black Adam, Bros, and the Banshees of Inisherin. We'll be back later this week with another episode of our podcast where we talk about anything and everything for about an hour. We hope you'll join us again for that. But until then, keep it real.